It's not all romantic, but it is all rewarding in some way. Even the hard parts, I'm kind of like, yeah, I could do this forever because the good is so extremely good. Just know that this is the calling on my life is to make art and continue to make art forever. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It is a gorgeous Monday here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I painted something last week that I want to bring you along from the very start to the very end. And while I do that, I thought I could do some chit-chatting. I am an oil painter and I make really great, cool, whimsical stuff. One of my major goals has always been to basically like bring people along and show them my creative and joy-filled life because of the freedom that creativity has offered me. And I thought like what better way to do that than by like opening my studio doors and bringing you along for the creative process every single week. And so I thought today I could kind of talk off the cuff about that process of like following my passion to create the life that I know that I am meant to live. And while I do that, I'll just be like showing you some clips of me working on a very tiny little oil painting last week. Here it is. It is very sweet. It's just this tiny little 6x6 painting. But I had so much fun making it. And I thought, like, I don't have a ton of footage from last week because last week was my birthday. I went away on a little trip and I was like, you know what? This is what it's all about. I'm going to talk today all about living this creative, inspired life and some obstacles that I have come up against because of my path to live this way. I'm setting myself up to paint a still life, and I found a floral that I really liked online. Here it is. And I thought, okay, but I don't want to just do a floral. So then I sketched a bunny and I was like, yeah, that's kind of a cute, fun idea. And then I thought, you know what? No, let's bring in a swan and a pear. So I forgot to turn on the camera through most of this, but here I am now. And here's my pear and here's my swan. These are my reference photos, but I am very loosely going to base it off of this. This is just to give me an idea of what to do next. Okay, so I don't want this to hit there, so I actually think I'm going to move my floral arrangement to be like over this way. And then here's the yellow one. And then there's going to be some pink ones falling over this way. And there's this big section of pink right here. And leaves are going to be coming out over there like that. And then there's this really gorgeous droopy pink section here. I think because this comes out far like this, it'll balance the floral arrangement like that. And then we want some of these greens to come over this way. Even though it doesn't have that on the photo, it doesn't matter because we are making the decisions here. Okay, so that's loosely what I'm thinking. And then we're going to put the pot on a flat surface here. And actually this makes a tangent. I don't want that. So I'm going to bring this line down here like this. And the pot will come down like that. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Most of my paintings start out just like this, where I map it out and I'm figuring out things as I am laying them down. When I do this, I can go into my painting with some confidence. I always think like a painting well begun is like half done. Isn't that a saying? Well begun is half done. Okay, so I got my pear, and my pear will be casting a shadow over here like this, and so will my swan. Okay, I think we're good to go. Let's go paint this. When I first decided to like go full time, jump in, both feet, I would kind of feel like silly or embarrassed to be like, oh, I can't do XYZ because I'm working today. And I was like coming into my studio to paint like a bear on a couch, like with a crown on, like stuff that didn't necessarily feel like work, but it was work. It was my work. And so I had to almost shift my mindset that this is serious. This is my life calling. And once I kind of said, like, it's as serious as you take it, um, that's how serious people will take it. Okay. If I say, like, if you talk down about your work or, like, oh, like just basically give up your time that you had planned to make your work at a drop of a hat or at anything, right? You are going to undermine what you are doing here. I want you to stop and think about someone who makes really fun stuff. The first person that comes to mind is Walt Disney, okay? If you boil it down, it's a guy that liked to draw a mouse, okay? But what made him different is not like this was just like a funsies little hobby. Like, no, he took this so seriously and he made other people take it seriously. And now look how humongous and massive this corporation is, okay? You have to take your work seriously. When I come in here to my studio, I say, I am working. And is it fun? Yes. Is it not fun? Sometimes. But because I love what I do, it doesn't always feel like work. So I could easily say, like, I'm not going to take this seriously. Okay, well, then it's not going to go anywhere. You have to be confident about what you're doing. And I know, like, especially being a creative, it can be like, well, what makes this good? Or like, just because I like it doesn't mean it's good. You are so unique, okay? What you like and what kind of taste you have is so unique to you. Every now and then someone will send me a picture and be like, this made me think of you because it is so uniquely my taste. And I want you to like really take your taste seriously. That's how you make art that kind of reads all in the same style vibe. And I know a lot of artists talk about like finding your style. Really, what you have to find first and foremost is what you like. Like, if you don't know what you like and you just kind of are like getting blown one way because someone said they like this, and then you're blown this way because someone on the internet said they like this, okay, then you're just not going to make art that has a voice. Once you know what you like very distinctly, you will start making art that feels like you, and that sounds like you, and that looks like you. What makes art so amazing is that it will resonate with certain people, and it will not resonate with other people. And that kind of like cherry picking where like some people get it, some people don't, is so wonderful. It is such a blessing because if you're making art for everyone, and I know you've heard this, then you're making art for no one, right? I am not making art for a man cave. I'm not. I'm making feminine, more like delicate art for nurseries, for women, for mothers, for grandmothers to give to their grandchildren, for like soft, gentle people. Because I am like really giving myself this narrow path, I have found such a unique, wonderful audience. And like, I'll pull up my analytics sometimes and it'll be like women. And I'm like, my girls, yes, I love it. This is who I'm speaking to. And so when I am giving out any sort of advice, I am thinking of like women just like me. Or women that are a little older. But I know that who is watching are women that need the encouragement to say, like, you are so amazing. And if you want to make art, you can absolutely do it. Because I know my audience and I know who's watching these videos, I want to talk about the guilt. I'm going to show you how I do a bit of self-critique for my work to make the piece exactly what I want before I say this is finished. Okay, so I really like how this is turning out. I think it's so cute, but I am seeing two major things that I want to fix before I call it finished. One being the edge of this pear. It gets lost in the wall. And while I think lost edges are super cool and great and can work in a lot of different situations, this lost edge is making this not read like as anything. Because this piece is so little, I want my edges to read as, okay, that's a pear and it's sitting on like a table-ish thing. The next thing I want to do is I want to make the edge of this shadowed side of the flower pot a little bit darker because there is not enough contrast happening on this side of the pot. So it's not reading as clear as it could be. Now, if you got really close, yes, I think it could. But most of the time you're going to be viewing things from a little bit further away. So this is going to be like 3 brush strokes to kind of get this painting exactly where I want it. So let me take it over there and I'll lay down the brush strokes with you and you can see what I mean. So since I am a woman and I am a mother and a wife, I want to talk about like the guilt that can surround you when you are choosing to make art, to make creativity a major priority. Because when you are making art, it kind of feels like you are saying like, I am important and I am choosing to chase this path that is fulfilling me. Because yes, I am making art for people, like obviously, but every single painting is coming from me and it's for me and it's because I like it. And eventually it finds an audience and it finds someone who also feels connected to it. But there still are times when I'm like, oh my gosh, I am really putting myself first here. And I'll feel bad about it. And I have to like pedal backwards and be like, no, actually, I shouldn't feel bad about this. Okay, this painting is now reading so much clearer in my opinion. See how I found the edge of that pear and I made the pot a little bit darker? Super good. So even from far away, you can tell that that's a pear. So I get to call this piece done, and I prepped the edges with this tape so that I could peel it off and paint scallops on it without having to kind of like, you know, fiddle with all of the oil paint that was going to be on the edge from my painting. I don't usually do this, but I thought I'd give it a try. And look at that beautiful edge. I might have to keep doing this. I have some of this cream left over from painting the edges of the other canvases, so I might as well paint the edges of this one and not waste this paint. So here's my tip for painting scallops on your canvases. If you want them to be perfect, I guess you could measure it, but you can do the first one and the last one. And this one is only going to take 3 scallops on each side. And now my last scallop will fit perfectly into the middle here. I don't always do perfect scallops. I actually rarely do perfect scallops because I think in the world of AI, people really like to see these like hand-made, imperfect things. They don't want to be seeing things that are like super, super polished. I mean, maybe some people do. I personally like when things are more homespun, homemade feeling. Handmade would be the right word, I think, because it shows that a human actually held this and worked on it. And that is so special in today's fast-paced, uber processed machine world, you know? I think we're seeing it now already, where people are wanting things that feel more human. It's okay if your scallops aren't perfect because people are tired of perfection, you know? Here it is. Very cute. I love it. 1 mini done. I have been given this gift of creativity. 100%. I know it. I've known it since I was little. I think a lot of women will push it off because it feels like an indulgence to sit down with a paintbrush and give yourself the time to make the work. But I know this to be true. I am a better mother, a better friend, a better wife when I have given myself the time to create. I don't have this like underlying resentment that like, well, here I am giving everything to everyone else and not getting to pursue my passions. And I still fight against this feeling of like, golly, man, I am just kind of like getting to come in here and play. But it has turned into me being able to support parts of my life and my family with my income. And because it has become a job, it's a little bit easier to justify like, well, I'm a working artist. I make income. Like I have a full-time career here. But when it wasn't a full-time career, oh my gosh, it felt like just play. But like, look at our beautiful daughters. We want them to play and we want them to enjoy themselves and be creative and curious. And like when their face lights up when they learn something new, we deserve that as women. We do. And I hope that we can all give ourselves the gift of creativity and the joy of creativity. The guilt is there, and I don't know if it'll ever go away. But I hope that we'll all push against it and we'll all kind of resist it to the point where we can start creating beautiful things with our hands, because we were created to create, like as women, as people, okay? We were created to create. A world where everything is so fast-paced, so instantaneous, the slow making is exactly what our nervous systems need. So while we are creating, our nervous systems are getting to be like relaxed and healed. And so like that guilt will eventually, hopefully, dampen. It'll quiet down because our nervous systems will find so much joy in the act of creation. So since my demographic is mostly women, with a few men out there, thank you so much for watching. I want to talk about how me making this creative life is so much more beyond myself than like what I actually think. So like that guilt of like, I'm doing this just for me, like it couldn't just like be stopped here by this one thing. My children seeing me pursue all of this creative work is so monumentally important. Like growing up, it was not an option to be a creative. Like I just grew up in this tiny town where this was like not something that anyone did. So my children being around my paintings and me having to like drop things off at galleries or ship things or get on meetings and seeing like the actual real life inner workings of an artist's life, I think is so beneficial to them. They see that this is an option, that they can do this if they really want to. They'll come in here and they'll see, like they'll see a big blank canvas on the wall. okay, on Monday. And then by Friday, there will be a painting, something that did not exist before. I am showing them that they can create something from absolutely nothing, just from their imagination. Every single week, I show them that this is possible. And it has been a growing gift. Like, I see new and fun things from my life as an artist that are just like seeping into my children's mindset and their worldview. It is absolutely so stunning because they take creativity seriously. Just like I was saying earlier, you have to take creativity seriously if you want it to get you or go anywhere. And they do. You know, they'll see a street performer playing guitar and they'll be like, man, how awesome is that that guy gets to do that for his job. Growing up around art will give them such a unique and interesting worldview. I know this to be true because my mom collected this one artist's paintings all through my childhood. And I would just stare at these things like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this woman just created these out of her head. And I know that because I had this one touch point with an artist, like a real living artist, that my mind maybe latched onto this artist and like her lifestyle in a very real way. Like we'd go to her house and we'd pick blueberries off of her bushes, and she had a studio and we would get to like go in and look at her studio. And it was just like this a real person living this real life. And who knows, like because I had the experience with this artist, maybe that set the like groundwork that one day I could eventually live the same life that she was living. I know I was like so all over the board here for this video, but there are so many like topics that I think, gosh, like we should be talking about this and we should be discussing it more. And so I thought like a chatty video would be kind of fun this week. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it was helpful and you feel inspired in some way. I am working on this humongous painting this week, and I am going to bring you along for the entire process. So check back here in just a few days because I will be probably a little further along on this painting. I am so extremely thankful for every single one of you that decides to come and spend a little bit of time with me. I hope that you feel inspired and ready to create. And who knows, maybe you're going to take the leap of faith and start taking your work so seriously that other people have to as well. I will see you in the next video. I'll be working on this painting and I cannot wait. Bye, guys. I love you.